Hare Krishna, Namaste. Welcome to our Gita study session. So we are in the 8th chapter. We started 8th chapter, or we're going to start 8th chapter today. So we completed chapter 7 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So this chapter is also from the Bhakti Yoga section of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna talks about attaining that Supreme Lord. So this chapter is titled Akshara Brahma Yoga. Akshara means that which is perishable. Akshara means that which is not perishable, that which is eternal. So what is that which is eternal in this world? The soul and the super soul. Krishna talks about everything about various aspects where the soul can attain the Supreme Lord. Okay, so that is a subject matter in this 8th chapter. So we'll quickly look at what we covered so far in previous sessions, so that we'll get the context and where we are heading. So this Bhagavad Gita consists of 18 chapters. In the first 6 chapters, Krishna talks about Karma Yoga. When Arjuna was reluctant to fight, when Arjuna thought his dharma, duty, to be a adharma that will create sin, and Arjuna had various misconceptions about the soul and various things. So Krishna says, and Arjuna also wants to run away from the battlefield. He wants to renounce the world. So that's when Krishna teaches that, Arjuna, you don't have to change your job profile. You continue your job profile. Whatever you're doing, you do it. But do with right consciousness, right mindset. When you do your actions with proper mindset, as a devotional service to the Lord, offering the results to the Lord, success or failure, be neutral to your actions. When you work in that way, you'll come out of this I and my zone, ahankara mamakara, and you'll attain purification of mind. All your negativities will go away, and you will be at the pure state of mind. And with that pure state of mind, you can meditate. You can sit and meditate on yourself, Atma. And Krishna teaches us various aspects of Ashtanga Yoga. One has to sit in a proper place and in a proper position and meditate on himself. And he could attain self-realization. It would take months, days, years, or lifetimes. When Arjuna said, Krishna, whatever you are saying is right, I can do, but it is hard for me. I cannot control mind, I cannot fix my mind, it's hard for me. So Krishna teaches yoginam api sarvesham. Of all the types of yoga, the yogi who meditates on me is so superior. So that ends the first 6 chapters. So Krishna is driving Arjuna towards him. Okay? And for one to meditate on the Supreme Lord, one has to know everything about the Supreme Lord, gain complete knowledge about the Supreme Lord, who God is, how great this God is, and what are the different means I can attain the Supreme Lord. If a person knows this, he works towards this and attain the Supreme Lord. So in the 7th chapter onwards, Krishna speaks about himself, everything about himself. So by knowing about the Supreme Lord and meditating on the Supreme Lord, one would develop pure love of Godhead. All his sins will be eradicated. He will attain pure state of mind, and he'll attain the Supreme Lord. Manmana bhavat bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Always thinking about the Supreme Lord, always meditating on the Supreme Lord, one would attain the Supreme Lord. And Krishna promises that you will attain me. There is no doubt about it. And the last 6 chapters, Krishna talks about various aspects, gives complete understanding about soul, this prakriti. He covered little bit in previous chapters and he details it in the last end chapters. And towards the end, he says again that you always meditate on me, you will be guaranteed to come to me. When Arjuna was quite worried about his past life sins, that's where Krishna says, you surrender to me. It becomes my problem to deliver you. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tam sarva papebhyo. I'll remove all your sins. Mokshayashyami masachaha. I guarantee you that you'll attain me. So that's where Krishna concludes Bhagavad Gita. And there are a few other verses as well after this verse. So that is a sense of Bhagavad Gita. So we covered in our 7th chapter where Krishna spoke everything about himself. Is titled Gnana Vijnana Yoga, the basic details about the God and the complete details and greatness and glories about the Lord. So Krishna is giving knowledge about the Lord. Knowledge about the Lord. In 8th chapter, we'll see, now that we gain knowledge, what are the practices I should do to attain him? That is 8th chapter. Right? If I need to go to St. Louis Gateway Arch, my goal is Gateway Arch. I need to go from my home. If I need to develop interest towards the arch, I need to know everything about the arch. We go to Google and search when this arch is made, when was this constructed, how it was constructed, what materials. More we know, more we develop interest towards attaining that. After I gain knowledge about the arch, I would like to see that arch. I would like to experience myself. I want to go there. How should I go there? Should I go? What options I have? I have car. Can I go in car? Yes. If I drive my car from my home, put a GPS, I need a GPS also to go to that place. When I use a car, make use of GPS, and I can go to the destination, that's Gateway Arch, and I can experience the Gateway Arch. Gateway Arch is attraction in St. Louis for those who are not in St. Louis or who doesn't know that. So the same thing. For us to attain the Supreme Lord, Krishna gave the knowledge about the Supreme Lord. Now that we learn knowledge, we need to drive the car now. Drive the car. And Krishna teaches the process to drive the car to attain the Supreme Lord. The process is simple. It's elaborated in many chapters, but it is simple. It is meditating on the Supreme Lord, always thinking about the Supreme Lord. That is essence. So since I spoke this, I'll give a high level overview so that we'll know the connection to the next chapter. And also what is the message in the 7th chapter if you have missed previous sessions. So Krishna says, for us to know everything about him, Krishna says, this is the most important knowledge I'm giving. So listen to this, Arjuna, very attentively. Know my greatness, I am being present. I am the creator, maintainer, destroyer. Everything resides in me. Just like a thread is sustaining the necklace, all the pearls, I am sustaining the entire cosmic existence. I'm the heat in the fire. I'm the taste in water, so and so. But you cannot know me because there is a curtain. But that curtain can be removed. I can remove the curtain if you surrender unto me, Krishna is saying. But there are 4 types of people who do not accept God, whatever it is. They don't like God. Krishna talks about that. And 4 types of people who worship God. They are pious people. They have good credits, punya karma from past life. They develop some kind of inclination towards the Lord because of pious credits. I repeat, Purva Janma karma, because of Purva Janma good credits. Right? So they develop some inclination towards the Lord. Who are those? Arda, Jignasu, Gnani. So they develop interest towards the Lord. So one is seeker of wealth, one category, who is distressed or seeker of wealth. Other category who is seeker of knowledge, Gnana, who is interested in self-realization. Other category is Gnani, who goes to the Lord to attain the Lord. Right? So it's so easy for us to gain knowledge about Krishna and attain Krishna. And Krishna also talks about in 20 to 25 about there are other group of people who go to indirect means to gain some material benefits from the Supreme Lord. Krishna says it is he who gives the material benefits through these demigods. Antavat phalam kauntaya. The phalam one would get has a beginning and an end. So we covered this about demigods in detail. And Krishna also talks about there is other understanding about the Lord, that Lord is impersonal. Lord doesn't have a form. He comes to this world and behaves like a normal human being because of karma. Krishna directly refutes that aspect, that conception as well. Krishna says that is not true as well. And Krishna never reveals to those kind of people who are not interested in him or makes different conceptions about him. And towards then Krishna says, you cannot know me, but I know you. I know your past, I know your present, I know your future. You, the living entity, soul, you are bewildered by this Ichcha and Dvesha, desires, unlimited desires, and hatredness. If you're not attaining, you develop hatredness towards things, and you are getting entangled in this material world because of Ichcha and Dvesha, unlimited desires and hatredness. And you're doing various kind of punya, papa, karma, and you're getting entangled yourself. And finally Krishna says that who takes shelter of him, who meditates on him, who worship him with pure love and devotion. A devotee who is all his papa karma removed, a devotee who is seeking interest in the Supreme Lord, when he comes to that stage, he can meditate. It's so rare. Krishna is saying it is so rare for a person at least to show interest and worship the Supreme Lord. We looked at it, even though it is rare, we could still make an endeavor. Choice is still ours. We can make an endeavor and be one of those categories who worship the Supreme Lord. And towards the end, Krishna says, finally, Jara Marana Mokshaya. If you are interested in birth, disease, if you are interested in coming out of this birth, disease, old age, death, breaking the cycle of birth and death, you need to know some important things. That is about the Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adibhuta, Adideva, Adiyagna. Krishna uses this complicated terminology towards the end of the 7th chapter to make Arjuna inquisitive. If a person, the listener, is listening or not, how would the speaker know? When he asks some questions or puts some intricate or uses some intricate terminology, the listener tries to, if he's interested, he puts questions and try to understand, right? So that's why Krishna is also putting this complicated terminology for Arjuna to become inquisitive and ask questions to Arjuna, questions to Krishna. And very importantly, Krishna uses a word here that is very, very important. That is, Arjuna, even at the time of death, minutes or seconds, it could be minutes before or seconds before you die. If you know me as the Supreme Lord, if you meditate on me, you can attain me. Arjuna was really, wow, I want to know that. What is that? I want to know that. I want to be that. Right? So that's when 8th chapter starts. So there are so many words in this 7th chapter, but to put it in one line, this is the thing. Krishna spoke about the knowledge about himself. Now that we know about himself in 8th chapter, we should try to practice certain things to attain the Supreme Lord. Okay? 7th chapter is knowledge about the Supreme Lord, the Lord's essential nature, who Lord is, and the souls who surrender unto him. That is the subject matter in 7th chapter, and 8th chapter about attaining the Supreme Lord, how one can attain the Supreme Lord, the knowledge and practices which are required for all kinds of devotees. So that is Krishna is going to cover in the 8th chapter. So this is one line summary. Okay, so we'll go to the connection from chapter 7 to chapter 8. So in the 7th chapter, Krishna said, there are some categories of devotees who come to me. The seeker of wealth, the seeker of self, or seeker of Lord himself. They're all good people. They are pious people. I love them. Even if they're coming for material benefits, I don't have any problem. I love them. They're all magnanimous. But I want them to attain me as well. For them to attain me, I'll speak this. So Krishna speaks this in the chapter. And the connection here is for those set of people who are seekers of wealth, seekers of self, or seekers of Lord, they need to know certain knowledge and they need to know certain practices. Okay, so Krishna uses this terminology, Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva. What is this terminology? We'll see in the upcoming slides. So the message here is, in short, whether a person is a seeker of wealth, a seeker of self, or seeker of the Supreme Lord, he has to know the Supreme Lord. If a person knows the Supreme Lord and meditates on the Supreme Lord, even at the time of death, he can attain the Supreme Lord. Okay, so Arjuna became inquisitive and he asked questions in the 8th chapter, beginning of 8th chapter. Krishna uses this terminology in the end of 7th chapter to make Arjuna inquisitive. Now Arjuna asks questions in the 8th chapter. I want to know about the terminology you used. You used a complicated terminology which is beyond my understanding. Can you explain me in detail what are those terminology and how that helps me? And also prayana kale. I'm more interested in this death. What is that one has to meditate upon? You said if I meditate on you, I'll attain you. You said that. I want to know more about that. So Krishna Arjuna puts questions. Okay. So we look at the 4 questions Arjuna, 2 questions Arjuna asked, and Krishna responds in 3 and 4 in the first 4 verses. Okay. So as always, I'll give an overview of the chapter. So it's like a dots. We'll put all the dots and try to connect the dots, and we'll go in detail on these verses and try to understand in more detail all these verses and from different examples and so on. So, okay. So I'll give an overview of this 8th chapter. So you'll get an idea what is coming in other upcoming sessions. Okay. Okay. Arjuna puts questions now, all these questions. Krishna, you gave me complicated terminology. I want to know about that. Brahma, Adhyatma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva, Adi Yajna, and Prayana Kala. Prayana Kala means the time of departure. Krishna answers that in 3rd and 4th verse. And the verse number 5 to 8, Krishna talks about this Prayana Kala. That is a subject matter from verse 5 until verse 28. Okay. So Krishna says, it starts with verse, right? Antakalecha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram. Ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. Antakalecha mameva. Mameva. Me alone. You meditate on me alone. Nobody else. When? Antakala, at the time of death. When you meditate on me alone, at the time of death, Smaran Mukta Kalevaram, at the time of death, you will attain me. Yaprayati Samadbhavam, you will attain me. Nati Atra Samshaya, there is no doubt about it. It is guaranteed. It is guaranteed you will attain me. If you can leave your body thinking about me. That's what Krishna says. in Antakalija Mami Babas. And later, in other words, Krishna says, at the time of death, it is very important how you leave your body, Arjuna, and to all of us. Yam yam vyapi smaran bhavam. Yam yam vyapi smaran bhavam. Whatever you think at the time of death, you will attain that state. In Srimad Bhagavatam also, we'll talk about in detail various examples. In Srimad Bhagavatam also, right? Bharata, he was at the time of death, he was thinking about a deer. He was born as a deer in next lifetime. And in the story of Puranjana, he was thinking about his wife. At the time of death, he was thinking about his wife, and he got a female body. Female body. So the final moments are really, really important. Now in these days, people are putting cricket matches, IPL matches at the time of death, or putting nice movies or songs. At the time of death, it's like a full circle. It's like a spinner wheel. If you spin a wheel and it spins fast and slowly stops at certain point, right? at a certain point. It is said that all the thoughts are collectively rotate or will collectively rotate. Throughout our life, whatever we meditate upon, will stop at that point. The highest number of thoughts which we meditate upon a thing, right? So that's where we stop, and that becomes our next Janma. In our next Janma, we become that. If a person is thinking about his wife, all the time about his wife, and towards the end also is thinking about all those thoughts is reflecting on those thoughts, he'll become a female. Guaranteed. If a person is thinking about a dog, he loves the dog so much, throughout his life he's thinking about the dog. Sorry to say this, but he'll become dog. He'll become dog. So that's what our scripture says. The final moments are really, really important. So how would I know what my final moments are? Or what will I think in my final moments? How would I know, Krishna? Krishna says, you practice throughout your life, you practice thinking about me. Throughout your life, if you practice thinking about me, it becomes easy for you to think about me at the time of death. Maya arpita mano buddhir. You offer your mind, you offer your intelligence, and take full shelter of me and meditate on me throughout your life. It becomes easy. So one might say, like, how would I know? How will I die? Nobody knows how people die, right? So one could accidentally die, or one could die in a divine atmosphere where they're surrounded by devotees and chanting the holy name. The great souls depart that way. Or some people accidentally die and something comes in their mind. Right? But a surrendered soul, a Sharanagata, who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord, so the Lord says in Purana, one of the Purana, that it becomes God's responsibility to remember, to give him the consciousness to remember him. God gives that at the time of death. So this is my devotee who remembered throughout my life, even though he's not remembering me at the time of death due to some problems. I take care of him. I'll give him the remembrance so that he attain me. So we'll see that in detail as we go in upcoming chapters and upcoming shlokas. Okay. So death is a final exam. One has to be fully aware or gain the knowledge and make sure he leaves the body in a right way. Right? Yeah. At least the practice one can do is throughout the life one can practice remembering Krishna. It becomes easy. If you don't remember Krishna, he will make us remember. That is for the surrendered souls. Okay. So 9 to 16, Krishna talks about remembering Krishna. So this is a message Krishna gives for different categories of people again who worship God, like who are wealth seekers, who are self seekers, and who want God alone. And it is a little technical. So Krishna gives 9 ways of remembering. Who are seekers of wealth, Krishna gives knowledge about 9 ways of remembering him. And if a person is interested in attaining self-realization, to visualize his own self, and for that there is a practice. One has to sit and bring his senses and prana in middle of the eyebrows and chanting the Om mantra. He has to leave his body. If a person does so, he can attain the Supreme Lord. This is a practice of Ashtanga Yoga. This is a very strenuous practice and hard practice. You don't see in this 2024. Right? In this Kali Yuga, you hardly find, or you don't see at all. So these are the practices people used to do in earlier ages. And it's very hard to control the mind, what to speak about sitting and leaving the body like that. So it's really hard. It's called Shat Chakra Yoga. Krishna talks about that. And Krishna says, if you, Arjuna, you meditate on me throughout your life, it becomes easy for you to meditate on me at the time of death. You don't have to work on this Shatchakra yoga and bring in the pranavayu. You don't worry about that. That is not for you. For you, easy practice is you throughout the life meditate on me. If you meditate on me, you'll come to me, my abode. Krishna talks about Mamupetyat Kantaya Punarjanmana Vidyate. If a person meditates on the Supreme Lord, Mamupetyat Kantaya Punarjanmana Vidyate, such a person will not have a next birth. He's done with his life. Who? A person who meditates on the Supreme Lord and attains the Supreme Abode. That's another important. Attains, a person who attains the Supreme Abode, that is the spiritual world or Vaikuntha planets. If a soul goes to that places, he will not come back again. Krishna, can you talk about that? Can you talk about the spiritual world, material world in detail? Yes. So Krishna goes in detail from 17 to 22. So where Krishna talks about how this material realm get created, how long it lasts, what is the lifespan of Brahma, all those things Krishna talks. We went through that in 7th chapter. I spoke about in detail. We can come and revisit all those things. It is coming from here. Basically, Krishna talks about the lifespan of Brahma, how long this material world lasts. Avyaktam, Vyaktam, Avyaktam. It manifests and unmanifests. It goes again and again. So Krishna says, in the daytime of Brahma, Brahma creates this entire universe, one universe, and Supreme Lord enters into each and every universe. And at the night of Brahma, when Brahma goes to sleep, everything get annihilated, entire universe get annihilated. It happens again and again until Brahma's 100 years. That is totally 311 trillion years. Okay, so 311 trillion years. This continues again and again. And who are the souls who are coming and going? They all go through these phases. Yam prapya nivartante. Krishna also says, but there is another abode, superior abode, which is Aksharam, which is imperishable, which is evergreen, which is eternal. That state, that location is Tadhama Paramam Mama, my location. Krishna says it is my location, my Vaikuntha planet. When you come to there, you will not come back again. You don't have to go through this repeated cycle of birth and death and repeated appearance in different yuga cycles. You don't have to go through these phases. Okay, Krishna, how can I attain that spiritual world? Same thing. Always think about Supreme Lord. And Krishna gives a criteria. Bhaktyastu ananya. Bhaktya labhastu ananya. Only the ananya bhakti, ananya bhakta. Ananya means like a pure devotee is always thinking about the Supreme Lord. Such a soul can attain or will attain the spiritual abode, and he will not come back again. That is moksha. Okay, and later from 23 to 28, Krishna talks about the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga. And he also says Krishna is driving Arjuna and everybody to attain the spiritual abode. And also at the time of death, one has to remember Supreme Lord. And Krishna says, at the time of death, how the soul leaves this body. There are two paths a soul would leave this body. Archaradi Marga, Dhumadi Marga. In other words, in English, the path of light or the path of darkness. A soul leaves this body, from this body. It is said there are okay, I'll talk about that when I get into that more detail. So there are two ways one can leave the body. That is a path of light and the path of death, path of darkness. Archaradi Marga, Dhumadi Marga. If a soul leaves the body through this Archaradi Marga, that is from the upper layer of the body, the health, the energy centers of the body, upper layer of the body, from the Sushumna Nadi or any upper parts of the body, when the soul leaves the body, right? It goes through the path of light and goes higher and higher planets and attains a spiritual abode. If a soul goes through Archara or the Marga, the soul will not return again. If the soul goes through the path of light, the soul will not return again. Soul will attain the spiritual abode. So when we come to that verse, we'll go in detail. What are the junctions? If you're going from here to India, I'm going from St. Louis to India, I need to go through various stops. My flight has various stops and there are various destinations I need to stop at, right? So, and we'll see the marga, the path of light, what are all it includes. It's very fascinating, intriguing. And how the soul crosses this material world and enters into the spiritual abode, the abode of Vaikuntha. So we'll go in detail. When we get to that verse, we'll go in detail and try to understand in detail. And the path of Dhumadi Marga, this is for a devotee who has not perfected yet, or who has not taken Sharanagati, has not perfected yet, is not practicing being a devotee. So he has other route. For a perfected soul, there is one route. For a soul who is not perfected, who is interested only in the material things, the soul interested only in the material things, enjoying the material things only. But he is interested in the God. I mean, he's worshipping the God, but he is interested in the material things. Such a soul goes through this Dhumadi Marga, the path of darkness from the lower parts of the body, and he goes into heaven or hell or still in the material world. He's still in the material world. He comes back again and again. He goes to the hell, he goes to the heaven, he enjoys there, and after his good karma depleted, he'll be kicked off. Again, in Chandogya Upanishad, it is said that how the soul comes to the earth again. So when we get there, we'll go in detail as well. Through rain, and soul enters into the grain, and grains are eaten by others or other beings. Who eats that, the soul enters into their bodies, and from their bodies to female gender bodies, the soul enters. So this process also we'll see when you do that. Was. And Krishna did not talk about the path of hell. There is another path where one goes to hell. That is also the path of darkness, but that person goes to hell who is not at all interested in God. Okay. Or he has done papa karma, who has done sinful actions. He will go to the hell and have some good time there. And also he'll be sent back. He'll be sent back to the earth planet. It's not like in the hell he will be in the hell forever. No. So he'll be sent back and again he'll continue. Okay, and towards the end, Krishna says, always be yoga yukta Arjuna. You always think about me, meditate on me. That is easy for you. I want you to attain me. And Krishna also talked about Ashtanga Yoga, right? Now he's concluding that your Bhakti Yoga is superior. If you meditate on me, you'll attain me guaranteed. So that is this 8th chapter. So we'll go in detail when we go into the verses. We'll go into the detail and try to learn in detail. Okay. So we'll do this verses 1 to 4 and we'll open up for questions. So I'll ask someone to read this.
What is Arjuna's text 1 to 2? Arjuna's questions. What is Brahma? Krishna's answers. Jiva, the indestructible Aksharam, transcendental living entity separate from the material body. What is Adhyatma? Swabhava, the eternal nature or the impressions, subtle body, vasanas that accompany the jiva and govern the body. What is karma? The fruitive activities of the jiva that lead to transmigration from one material body to another. What is Adibhuta? Prakriti, the constantly changing Shara, physical world or material body consisting of material elements. What is Adi Deva? Virat Purusha, the gigantic universal form which includes all the demigods and their planets. Who is the Adi Yajna? Paramatma, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, the Supreme Lord represented as the Super Soul. How is Adi Yajna known in the body? In the heart of every embodied being, as the regulator, I inspire performance of sacrifice and other acts. How to know you at the point of death? Prayana Kali. This is the main subject of the rest of this chapter.
Yeah. Thank you, Arun. So
Sure.
these are 2 questions Arjuna asks, and in first verse number 1, verse number 2, and Krishna answers in verse number 3 and 4. So I didn't put slokas and translations. I put it in one table of everything. So it's easy for us to go through one by one. Right? So to relate what is the question and what is the answer. Okay. So Krishna said, Arjuna, you need to know certain things. If you are interested in self-realization, if you want to attain me, you need to know certain things. And Krishna uses this terminology. The idea is like not to get too much worried about this terminology, just have a high level understanding. And the important aspect here is Prayana Kale. From throughout this chapter, like verse number 5 onwards, Krishna talks about everything about Prayana Kala at the time of death. Right? So that is important subject matter. And Krishna doesn't repeat all this terminology in later chapters also. Okay, so just for the understanding, like if a person is interested in liberation, he has to know these things. Right? So what is Brahma? So Brahma here refers to like Brahma has different meanings. Like it's not the Brahma of person Brahma, it's Brahman. So that is, in this case, it is Jiva. So Brahman means the supreme absolute truth, that is a big, the one who is big, like absolute Brahman. That's what people, that's what usually say, scriptures say. But in the context here, the Sanskrit terminology, the word changes based on the context it is used. For example, Atma means soul. Atma also means mind. Atma also means intelligence. Atma also means many things. It depends on the context it is used. Dharma means like duties. Dharma also means that rules, regulations to be followed. So dharma means many things. It varies, depends on the context it is used. That is the terminology in Sanskrit. So in this scope, in this terminology here, what is Brahma? This is too high level. If you don't understand, no problem. Too technical, we'll just pass through and rest of the verses will be easy. But try to grasp as much possible. So Brahman here refers to the Jiva, soul. Krishna says that is Aksharam, that is imperishable, that which never perishes. So whatever we see in this world is perishes. An apple perishes, a tree perishes, this body also perishes. The Atma is imperishable, Aksharam, indestructible. So if a person is interested in self-realization, he has to gain the knowledge that soul is eternal. Soul is eternal. I'm in this body, but my soul is eternal. And my goal is to attain that eternal state, or get a knowledge where I can attain the deathlessness state. Right? So that is Brahman. Adhyatma, the Swabhava. The soul, when enters into this material body, attains and does various functions, activities, and puts various impressions, and carries various impressions while living in next many lifetimes. Also, it carries various impressions. So, how this soul carries various impressions? Through the subtle body, So we have this physical body, gross body, that is Kshara, and there is a subtle body, and we have these vasanas, like impressions carrying over from many lifetimes, right? So a person who is interested in self-realization also has to know this. I'm getting so I'm a spirit soul. I have this subtle body, and I carry various impressions throughout my life. Person has to have that awareness so that he knows what he is and work towards getting out of it. And what is karma? Karma also means, here karma means various actions soul does, and basically the actions which uh, by which one would transmigrate from one body to another. Right? That is karma, action. Adibhuta. Adibhuta here refers to Prakriti. This Prakriti, material nature, that is Kshara. Krishna says Kshara, that is perishable. Perishable means it doesn't mean it destroys and doesn't have its identity, but it goes to unmanifest state. For example, the apple, we take apple. Apple is a Kshara Vastu, because it perishes. By the influence of time, apple day by day perishes. This body also day by day perishes. Because of this, everything is made of Prakriti, the material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Because of these elements intermixed, I give an example, like if you're making upma, right? So if we have various ingredients like water, oil, peanuts, and what are the things you put in upma. Many people put vegetables and everything, right? As long as you keep it separate, they are good. But ever since you start mixing and putting in proportions and mixing and making upma out of it, then it is subject to deterioration. Faster. It deteriorates faster. As long as I forgot the main ingredient, rava. Right, rava, the soji, that is also important to make upma. So as long as these are separate, they don't perish. But as long as when they are mixed, it is subject to deterioration and damage. So Adibhuta here refers to the person who is interested in self-realization, or the person who wants to attain the Supreme Lord. He has to know what is this material world. And this is also Aishwaryadi, like the person who is interested in material elements, who is approaching the God to gain the material benefits and material things. One should also understand that these are temporary. These are temporary. Adideva. One has to have a complete knowledge about the Supreme Lord as a Purusha. Adi Yajna, the Paramatma who resides in the heart of every living entity. And also, so this is for everybody, all kinds of categories of people who are interested to attain the Supreme Lord. They need to know the Supreme Lord as Adi Yajna, that he is the one. Even the person who is interested in self-realization, he has to gain knowledge about the Supreme Lord. By such knowledge only he can leave his body. If a person wants to attain the Supreme Lord as a Bhakta devotee, he also has to gain complete understanding about the Supreme Lord. And a wealth seeker also has to gain complete knowledge about the Supreme Lord. These are all very technical terminologies. So another important point is here, the yajna is used. Yajna means like anybody who is worshipping, even though we are worshipping various demigods, end of the day, end of the day, it goes to the Supreme Lord. Sarvadeva Namaskara Keshavam Pratigachati. It goes to the Supreme Lord only, the ultimate Supreme Reality, that is Lord Vishnu. So the person is if a person is interested in attaining the Supreme Lord, he has to know the Supreme Lord as Adi Yagna, that is ultimate Supreme Reality. He is the source of everything. He is the one who grants us everything, right? And here refers to moksha. Mukunda, that's why Krishna is called Mukunda. He's the one who grants the moksha. Mukunda, moksha giver, moksha giver. Okay, so yeah, and Arjuna asks this question about Prayana Kala. I want to know about Prayana Kala. Krishna talks about this Prayana Kala from verse number 5 throughout this chapter. Prayana Kala, importance of this, and how one should live in this world, and how one should die, how one should leave this body from this world. Krishna talks about everything about that. So we'll see that in the upcoming classes. It's very interesting subject matter, right? So we don't see in any other literatures and other places. The Sanatana Dharma, the God himself has spoken about like the soul, what is soul, what is this material nature, Jiva, Ishvara, who is Supreme Lord, Prakriti, what is this material nature, Kala, time, what is this time, how it affects karma, like how we are entangled, why we take birth in this world. So Sanatana Dharma has answers to all these questions, even if a person have. And very interestingly, Krishna is talking about how a person should live, how a person should die. It is very important about how a person leaves his body, So very wonderful chapter and amazing verses coming. So we'll go in detail and we'll look from various scriptures and try to understand those everything in detail in the upcoming sessions. So I'll stop here. Oh, my camera was not shown. Okay. Sorry, my camera was off. I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions or thoughts or sharings, you can feel free to share. We'll end the session here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.